own a show. Call it what you want. We like After the Show.
Yep.
For reasons that we're not going to say here. If it's not obvious to you, we'll let you figure it out. I'm Steve West. That's Matt Nicholson. Producer John Myers here. And there's a couple of things that we wanted to get to before we got into our particular rankings when it comes to Darlington throwbacks. There are some Formula E news here. Formula E, for example, they have been, I should say, to South America before, but they've never been to Brazil. Next year, it looks like it'll change. They are set to run, once they get a final approval from the FIA, set to run in the same city that F1 does. They're inking a 5-year deal, subject to FIA approval, that once it's been agreed to, it'll begin next season with the next generation of Formula E racer as well. While Brazilian and Formula E officials both expressed excitement about the new race, they did not note exactly where the race would be held, whether it be held on a city street course or whether they go to the track that Formula One uses, which is the Autodromo Juan Carlos Pace. Formerly used to call that Interlagos. We noted this a couple of weeks ago when they ran at Monaco. They finally ran the entire track, same one that F1 does.
Right.
Proved that you could do it.
Yeah, no doubt. No
Go
doubt.
run where F1 does.
Yep.
It's about time you started thinking about that more.
Go for it.
And then there's Audi. With Audi leaving Formula E after last season, their partner, which was ABT Sportsline, made this season kind of a year off for them. But they say that they always intended for this just to be a year off. They plan to come back to the sport that they joined as a founding operation. The German-based company has announced they plan to partner with an existing team as a customer operation for next year, but they stopped short of announcing what team that they're going to get their powertrain from. They said that they're going to build their own cars to Formula E specifications, and they're just going to buy the powertrain from somebody else. Who? We don't know. Think about it. Mercedes is gone. Audi's gone.
Yeah.
BMW is about to be gone.
I think so, yeah.
Porsche staying in. Jaguar staying in. Nissan is staying in. Mahindra's not building their own. It's got to be one of those three. It's Porsche, Audi, or Porsche, Jaguar, or Nissan.
Yeah.
If they stayed German, they could still be under the Volkswagen banner if they went Porsche.
Yeah, they could. But I could see it happening to something like a Jaguar or a
Totally change it up.
Heck, even Nissan.
Yeah, totally change things up.
Yep.
I could see that too. And then there's the W Series. We don't cover them on a regular basis, but it looks like this is gaining more and more speed. And the reason why we do cover this is it's kind of the same reason that we started covering Formula E so many years ago. Well, 8. When it was announced that we were going to do Formula E, or they were going to do Formula E, it was a massive curiosity, basically. We were like, okay, this is fairly interesting. Let's find out where they're going to go with this, right? And it turned out to be a major sporting series to the point where the FIA has declared it a world championship. It's something that they waited a few years to give to Formula E. Now all of a sudden you get the W Series, and I get it. The W Series is on the equivalent level that even the FIA admits is Formula 3, not even Formula 2. But it's this all-female series. And when it first was announced a few years ago, it happened to be right around the same time that we had a well-known female racer show up at Talladega Superspeedway.
Oh, yeah. The only one time I've ever heard Russell Branham go to complete silence.
Oh, yeah. Lynn St. James left Russell Branham speechless. And that's a trick.
Yeah.
She ripped this series apart. She's not a fan. And I get it. I understand where she's coming from. But the thing about it is, it looks like it's got staying power. They're about to run their 3rd season. Remember, they debuted in 2019. 2020, COVID hits. They decided to scrap the season. That left even us wondering, can they come back from it? Turns out they did. They ran season number 2 in 2021. They're going to run season number 3 this year. And as they have with Formula One, ESPN, yeah, you heard me right, ESPN has signed a deal to have and be the U.S. television rights partners of that W Series. The Cable Sports Network is going to broadcast all 10 of the 2022 W Series races. They're going to spread it across 8 Formula One weekends, and ESPN will use all of their networks, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, and ESPN News. The first races happen this weekend. 2 of those 10 races taking place this weekend in Miami. 2 doubleheader weekends. Mentioned it just a moment ago. Season premiere this weekend, Miami. And then the season ender, accompanying Formula One when they're in Mexico City. And then you get single races throughout the others. As we mentioned, series began in 2019, didn't run in 2020 due to COVID, and they came back last year, settled their title at Circuit of the Americas in Texas. And for the second time in 2 years, Jamie Chadwick won the title. So she's the 2-time and to this point only champion the series has ever known. But that being said, W Series CEO Catherine Von Muir said of the ESPN pairing, quote, W Series Miami presented by Hard Rock, yeah, that's the official name of this weekend, will be the biggest event we've ever staged. And I'm delighted that ESPN, with its reputation as a leader in sports broadcasting in the United States, who has done such a good job of promoting motorsport and particularly Formula One in North America, will broadcast live coverage of all W Series races this year. I hope that the United States will become our largest market, and ESPN is a great step towards making that happen. So regardless of what Lynn St. James might think about the W Series, it's really beginning to look more and more like it's here to stay.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely promoting the heck out of this Miami series opener for them because they just got through qualifying not that long ago. And it is not Jamie Chadwick that is the pole sitter.
Ooh, hello.
Which is a surprise. It is actually Nerea Marti of the Quant Fury W Series team that is taking on the pole. You ask where Jamie Chadwick is? Oh, she's only second.
Oh, is that all? Not like she's all that far down the list then.
Driving for Bruce Jenner.
There you go.
Driving for Bruce Jenner.
Driving for Bruce / Caitlin, whatever Bruce / Caitlin wants to be called. Right?
Driving for it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Them. Well, you know, it'll be interesting to see. And again, you start getting names out there, and whatever we might think about Jenner's transition over the course of time. Always been a race fan and been a racer himself. 1980s, back when he was a guy, back when he was known as Bruce. He was a racer and a fairly accomplished one at that in sports cars.
Road racer, absolutely was.
So, you know, I get the passion, and we'll see where it all goes. Again, it just seems like this is a series that as you get past the series ownership of all of the cars and you start going out there and you start getting names that come in and they become owners of a team, whether it's a single car or a multiple car operation, it just adds to the legitimacy of this particular series.
Yeah. But here's an interesting little nugget about how the cars are. F1 was running high 129s, low 130s yesterday.
At Miami.
W Series, the pole was a 156.
Ooh. It's a much slower car. Like we said,
30 seconds difference.
It's the equivalent of a Formula 3. Not Formula 2, certainly not Formula 1. It's equivalent of Formula 3. So we'll cover it from time to time. We're not going to cover it on a regular basis. Since they're here in America, we'll probably talk about it next week in the recap, especially if I think the one American driver does well. But otherwise, it'll continue to be a footnote.
Yeah.
Truth be told. All right, so here we go. Beginning last night and continuing today and, of course, into tomorrow, you can expect to see a whole lot of throwback schemes at Darlington Speedway. Some of them are going to be good. Others we could call questionable. Or if you want to just go right at it, downright horrible. But anyway,
yeah.
Matt and I are going to take this time. Now, we used to do this in the past. We had done a top 3 from each series during the radio show itself. But we chose to do it here on our YouTube-only show, so remember to tell your friends about this. For those of you that are on CRN Live checking us out. If you are checking it out through connections via Facebook, don't forget to hit the subscribe link, okay? And tell your friends about going and finding CRN Live and hitting the subscribe link too. We appreciate it. But this was the way to be able to ensure that you were able to get to see the pictures in addition to hearing us talk about why we made the choices that we made. Okay? So like I said, we did this in the past in the radio show. This time we're going to try and ease the transition of you going, well, I can't see it. Obviously, because it's radio. It's largely audio. Get the picture?
Not yet.
Yeah, close.
Yeah, we're almost there. Trust me, we're almost there. So this time around, we chose to make it CRN Live only. So first I want to mention a couple of honorable mentions. You did one.
I did.
I couldn't resist. I ended up doing three. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out my three honorable mentions, and then I'm going to let Matt. Is it two? Well, I'm going to do my three honorable mentions, and then I'll turn it over to Matt. Let him do his honorable mention in his top three overall. How's that? Okay? You follow where I'm going with this, John? Okay. My honorable mentions first up. Chris Buescher, Matt Kenseth, that Cup Series number 17 car. They did the number in the exact same way that it looks when Matt Kenseth drove this, and it's the paint scheme that he had under DeWalt, and this is honoring the new Hall of Fame inductee for 2023. We talked about that during the show.
Yeah.
Now, Buescher's Socios.com sponsor obviously is different than DeWalt. The number, the paint scheme, really, really close. Just wasn't enough for me to put it in the top.
I can see where you're going with that.
Next up, Kyle Larson, Tim Richmond, the Cup Series number 5. It's about as close as you're going to get to looking at how Richmond's mid-1980s 1980s Hendrick Honda look. Here's the truth. I get this. They're running Chevrolets.
You mean that Hendrick Honda Pontiac?
Yes. Here's the thing. I would have put this in the top if Rick Hendrick had been able to convince Chevrolet to let him put Honda on the car.
Yeah.
That's what missed it for me. Because Hendrick's got a lot of pull within Chevrolet, and I get it. Chevrolet certainly wanted it to say Chevrolet on the side. But you couldn't have told me for one race, Rick Hendrick, of all people, couldn't have said, hey, listen, I'm just going to put my Hendrick Honda on there because I want it to look exactly the same as it did when Tim Richmond drove it.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks like a sweet ride.
It's still Chevrolet.
It's
Like I
still
said,
very good.
just so close. So close. My final honorable mention is this one. It's the Sam Mayer Rick Mast Xfinity Series number 1. It's a take on an old Skull Bandit look. Not the Harry Gant one, obviously. That one was green. This one is black with a white and gold look. It's a good-looking car. But again, just small little things.
The old Skull Classic car.
Yeah. Small little things kept it from making my final 3. So those are my honorable mentions. You take it from here.
My first honorable mention, and this is actually, I didn't send the photo with this one. Yeah, I should have. I sent only one photo. I've ended up picking a second honorable mention last night. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That one's on me, John.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So all of you send your complaints to Matt that you don't get a company.
Come straight to the complaint department. I'll answer them. I'll take it head on. My second honorable mention is the Cole Custer throwback to Jason Leffler.
Yeah, I looked at that. It was close.
It was very, very close. It just didn't quite do it for me. But my lead honorable mention throwback, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this. My honorable mention throwback is Cody Ware's throwback to Mike Stefanik.
Dude, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send it to you separately. It's all good. It's all good. Don't sweat it. It's all good. I did send it to you, though. If we can get the stinking number placement right,
Yeah,
they got the font and colors and everything spot on.
I would agree.
They got it spot on, and I was pretty happy with that one. But that's my 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
So we're going to go into our top ones now. The way you got it laid out from right here, what I'm seeing, I'm looking at the video too. You got my third place one right. What I went with is overall third place was the Bobby Allison Matador throwback that Haley Deegan ran last night.
Okay.
I went with that one. I thought they got that one right. They got the number font very, very, very close. It ain't exact, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my third place one because I'm a sucker for that one.
Okay. Let me go ahead and pick up from here because since he didn't give you the picture, I did. That's also my number 3. Is that?
Well, I have that picture now.
Yep. I get it. That's why I'm going to go ahead and mention it because it's also my third place. The Haley Deegan Bobby Allison, again, a look that reminds us so very much of Allison's red, white, and blue AMC Matador, mid-1970s, blue over the engine, cockpits being white, tail end red. Again, the number almost spot on. The differences, other than the fact that you're going from AMC Matador to truck, are almost too small to mention, just to be real honest.
Mm-hmm.
I get it that the sponsorship's a little bit different, things like that, but the overall look of the truck versus the car,
Right.
too close.
Right.
Too close. Okay? Number 2 for you.
My number 2, and and really the way I rank my top ones is really more like a 1A, 1B, 1C. They were this close for me.
Okay.
But slotting in second, I went with Sam Mayer's Rick Mast throwback.
Oh, okay.
I went with that one. I was a sucker for that. I was a good sucker for that one. I was.
Okay.
I thought they got that one. They got that one right.
All right. Since we're doing it this way, we'll go ahead and continue this because I get the funny feeling number 1 probably is the same. For me, number 2, Petty GMS Racing. Almost pulled off the win for me. The throwing back to the looks of Lee Petty's number 42, which will be driven obviously tomorrow by Ty Dillon. Richard Petty's number 43, obviously driven tomorrow by Eric Jones. Close enough, not perfect, obviously, but real close. And to understand and be able to figure out the way to honor both of those. Congratulations to Maury Gallagher, because really he's putting GMS Racing in the background on this, and he's putting the Pettys to the forefront.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the first thing I thought of as well when I saw these.
Just it's a really good look for both of those. Little surprising they didn't go with an STP look, because I think they could have gotten that without a problem for the 43.
Probably.
But overall, real nice job. Again, it's just small little things that kept it from being number 1.
Yeah, and it's not much either.
No, not much at all.
Not much at all.
All right, that brings us to number 1. Shall we say it together?
Well, I actually had a 1A to 1B.
Oh,
and it was
do you now?
super. I mean, it was stupid close.
I think 1B is gone.
Yeah,
1B was the slide back.
1B is already was already shown.
Okay.
My 1B was the Kyle Larson, Tim Richmond throwback.
Okay.
That was the number 5 car.
Yeah, that was number 5, Tim Richmond, Hendrick Honda / Hendrick Chevrolet.
Hendrick Honda, Chevrolet, Pontiac,
Which
GMC.
Feel free
whatever.
to put that back up if you want,
I
but
picked
it's
that
not going to
car
be
up
up there.
and threw it out the window.
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. But my number 1, hands down, no question, no holds barred. Don't argue with me on this one.
Trackhouse Racing?
Survey says you're correct.
Ding, ding, ding. Look at these 2 cars on our CRN live feed. Just look at them.
AfterShow.
That's right. Like I said, it's radio. Get the picture? The reason we're doing this on YouTube is so you can see the picture. Look at these 2 cars. The only thing that is different, literally to me, well, okay, 2 things. The only thing different is, number 1, the number placement. I'm not going to go back down that road because it's obviously not changing. And number 2, instead of this one being the number 99, back then it was a 3. Other than that, nailed it.
You absolutely, under no circumstances, can you get any closer than this.
I mean, got the sponsor right, brought back the black and white paint scheme with the polar bear.
Well, Justin Marks earlier this week on the Dale Jr. Download episode came on to surprise Junior with this.
Mm-hmm.
Junior had no idea about this.
Nope.
Nobody in the Earnhardt family had an idea about it. He said they went to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola said, do it.
Yeah.
Go. Do it. Absolutely.
For those of you that are looking for some history, these are throwback paint schemes that goes back to the exhibition race that NASCAR ran in Japan in November of 1998. The black number 1 was driven by Dale Earnhardt Jr., his father driving a red number 3. And I didn't think about the irony of it later, because when you think about it, when Junior came up into the Cup Series, his dad was famed for driving the black number 3. Junior comes in, he's driving a red number 8. So they ended up switching the numbers. In this case, Chastain gets the black number 1. Red scheme goes to the number 99 of Suarez. Team owner Justin Marks said of the looks, quote, "We wanted to do something that honors the legacy of the sport, recognizes our valued partners at Trackhouse Racing, and something that fans can get behind. We think this is the right combination of marrying the history of the Earnhardts, who are both Hall of Famers, acknowledging our support from Coca-Cola and Chevrolet, and also supporting the fans. Excitement for Throwback Weekend at Darlington." You mentioned Dale Earnhardt Jr. seeing the car in person. Dale Jr. said of the one car, "That's the car I drove." And he said that about the car that Ross Chastain will drive.
And if you look at it, close enough, the 99 on Suarez's car is actually in the same font as a 3.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen to be tilted forward like the 3 was, obviously, because we know that so well from Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s days. That's the number 99, the fact that it's not tilted forward. Literally, that's the only difference that I can tell between the paint scheme that they put on Suarez's car versus the one that he drove November 1998 in Japan. Trackhouse Racing absolutely nailed
Trackhouse is steadily becoming a series favorite team.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
They're getting popular quick.
I agree wholeheartedly.
But if I got to go a worse throwback,
I didn't even think about going worst.
I'll just let your imaginations go to when you see it on television tomorrow. What are you doing, Denny Hamlin?
What did he choose to do?
You're throwing back to yourself? I got it right here.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Kind of weak.
That's extremely weak.
The one that I have to admit I didn't understand was the BJ McLeod pairing. BJ McLeod Motorsports and Live Fast Motorsports, which BJ McLeod's going to be behind the wheel of the car tomorrow. They both have the same kind of flame look that they say throws back to something that
BJ Super Late Model.
It didn't register, you know?
Yeah, it was through BJ's Super Late Model days.
Yeah, it just doesn't really register that much. It's not that it's a bad looking car, but it probably, you need to figure out a way to make it register to the fans a little bit more than what you did.
Yeah, I would say so with that. I mean, now if McDonald's in 2311 had left out the black part of the monster on the back, that could have squeaked in my top 3.
Yeah. That's the one that, not Kyle, Kurt Busch is going to run tomorrow, the 45, kind of throwing back to Bill Elliott.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, if you want to go and look, truth be told, J-Ski does a fantastic job of running down all of them, at least the ones that they can get a hands on. And we want to thank jski.com, because that's where all of the, I know for me, probably for Matt as well, jski.com provided a lot of these pictures for us to be able to show you. We appreciate them a lot, because they do a great job of getting all the paint schemes for all the year throughout, even if it's just a one-off deal where there's a sponsor that comes on for one weekend and that's it. They do a great job of being able to get a picture of it so you get an idea of what it's going to look like, and then getting all the paint schemes throughout the year. And they do a great job because they separate out a throwback page, so it doesn't take too much to look for it either. So thanks to jski.com. Thank you to Trackhouse Racing. Gosh, those are sharp cars. Just absolutely sharp cars. Nailed it this weekend. You guys are the winners.
Did you see that before we close? Did you see the story of where it come out late yesterday? But Justin Marks, he bought it from Andy Petrie. He owns the car that Harry Gant won 4 straight with in September of '91.
Yeah, they actually got it fired up and running too.
Got it fired up and running, and Justin Marks was going to drive it during the pace laps, like they've done before with older cars.
Yeah, we saw it at Talladega a couple of weeks ago.
Due to tobacco branding and advertising, which I think is the lamest excuse I've ever heard in my life, they're not going to let him drive it.
That's moronic.
Very moronic. But you got a couple years ago when Richard Childress drove Dale Earnhardt's car at Talladega, Winston Cup logos all over it.
Yeah.
Same thing a couple weeks ago, Winston Cup logos all over it.
Yeah, the Davey Allison car that Clint Boyer drove.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got a real big problem with that. That's horrible. You know, I don't know. Well, bad decisions, and I get it. It's part of this is the FCC, and I can easily blame that governmental organization as well. They're every single bit as culpable in not letting that car run as anybody else is. So I hate to say it, but that's
correct.
Unfortunately, the way that we're going into the near future. Next week, we're going to do it all over again. We'll have a review of Darlington. Obviously, we'll have a review of Miami. And we'll see what else we can get into next week as well. You guys have a great week. We're going to take off and get prepared for next week. Hope you enjoy the week and the weekend of racing. We'll talk to you next week right here on the Championship Racing Network.
See ya.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.